NASA is continuing on its mission to bring back supersonic airplane travel, and during a recent information-seeking mission took a truly fabulous image. As an incredibly fast test plane passed in front of the sun, a photo of the shockwaves it produced was captured. The technique used was created in Germany about a century and a half ago. While the vision is a beautiful one, the reason behind documenting it was purely scientific. Seeing how the waves operate can help engineers figure out how to achieve blazing airspeeds without creating the very loud and disruptive boom associated with them. Until they do, supersonic travel is prohibited over U.S. land.
As far as they know, there's only one species across the Pacific that looks like this.
Sea toads aren't incredibly fast-traveling fish, but when they do maneuver themselves about, they have some pretty impressive moves. One featured in a video taken by NOAA's Okeanos Explorer crew shows off a bit of what it can do. Among the notable skills displayed are instant deflation and standing on one foot.
Whoa. Someone lost some weight.
The fish also has a great talent for building suspense, as it stands prepped to swim away for quite a while before actually doing so. It doesn't stay afloat for long.
There he goes. So they do swim.
Yeah.
Is that a parasite?
Oh, you're right. It is a parasite.
Feet out for landing. It does.
Stephen Hawking is a supporter of space travel, in part because he thinks the survival of humanity depends on it. Hawking shared these thoughts in an afterword for Julian Guthrie's book, How to Make a Spaceship, which is about the pursuit of private spaceflight. In the piece, the physicist writes, "I believe in the possibility of commercial space travel for exploration and for the preservation of humanity." He goes on to warn, "I believe that life on Earth is at an ever-increasing risk of being wiped out by a disaster, such as a sudden nuclear war, a genetically engineered virus, or other dangers. I think the human race has no future if it doesn't go to space." As such, he says, we need to inspire the next generation to become engaged in space and in science in general, to ask questions. What will we find when we go to space? Is there alien life? Or are we alone? What will a sunset on Mars look like? Hawking also reveals that he himself has accepted a seat on Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2 vehicle, VSS Unity, should it venture into space. Researchers are learning more about the way space travel affects the body. According to a recently published study on mice, microgravity may have been to blame for the thinning of their skin and disrupted hair growth cycle. As part of the 2009 experiment, 6 mice were launched on a 91-day mission to the International Space Station in specially designed compartments with automated food and water systems. The 3 that survived were euthanized upon arrival back to Earth, and their skin, organs, and remaining parts were distributed among 20 teams for study. Based on different analysis, the scientists determined that all 3 specimens displayed a significant reduction of dermal thickness. It is thought that this thinning could provide insight into the skin irritation, rashes, and long heal time that astronauts have experienced on previous trips into space. The weightlessness is thought to cause changes to the skin at the genetic level, which could also be disrupting normal hair follicle activities. Whereas the hair should have been in a resting cycle, they were in an unusually active state. Just last week, we saw Michelle Obama sporting shoulder-length hair while traveling through Japan and Cambodia for an initiative called Let Girls Learn. This week, however, many Jeopardy fans were left wondering what happened to her locks after she made an appearance on Tuesday.
We should make half our plate fruits and vegetables.
The First Lady was on the program to promote her Let's Move campaign, which is an initiative that strives to end childhood obesity by helping develop healthy habits in kids. While Michelle had some good tips, those who were watching seemed to be fixated on her hairdo. Given the angle, it was hard to tell if her head was shaved or if she had it pulled back very tightly. Twitter users had a field day trying to figure it out. The photos from her Jeopardy appearance generated comments such as, "Why is Michelle Obama bald on Jeopardy? When did this happen?" And "That moment when you think you see Michelle Obama bald on Jeopardy and go to Twitter to find the answer." The majority opinion seems to be that it was pulled back tightly, a hairstyle that she has sported several times over the past few years. A pair of bank robbers is on the loose and have been traveling along the nation's east coast.
I've never seen it to this degree where two people, it's almost like Bonnie and Clyde, and that's what we're calling them here in the office.
Over the past few weeks, the duo, identified as Joseph and Jennifer Carrier, pulled off successful heists in Florida, Maryland, and Massachusetts. Authorities believe the money gained through the crime spree is being used to fund both their heroin habits and the care of the 7 small Brussels Griffon dogs they're believed to have in tow. Investigators are hoping the pets eventually lead them to the perpetrators. One authority told the Boston Herald, "We believe this will increase their visibility, as they may need to make frequent stops to let the dogs out." The pair's first robbery occurred on September 28th, and the most recent incident happened just last Friday. Flights requiring extra travel time due to the day's weather are common, but according to a new study, larger climate issues are affecting durations as well. Climate change has caused jet streams to become stronger, and planes battling the increased force take longer to make a round trip. For passengers, that may not be immensely noticeable, as the additional time on board can just be mere minutes. However, all of the increases do add up, and the impact on both the airlines and the environment can be large. Keeping planes in the air for a greater amount of time requires more fuel, which can mean millions of dollars in additional expenses for carriers. Extra flying time also causes more greenhouse gases to be released into the air, further pushing the effects of climate change. An author of the study does have advice on how the problems can be remedied. He noted that at this time, the airline industry constantly tracks changes in daily weather patterns, but doesn't seem to look into those occurring over a long periods of time. It's posited that doing so could allow for advanced planning to better handle the costs and delays associated with jet stream-related troubles.
Today, the bodies of many of the victims were returned to their homeland for a national day of mourning.
2014 wasn't without passenger aircraft tragedies, but the year overall was among the safer for air travel. According to the Aviation Safety Network's calculations, fatality rates were lower than the decade's 676-person average. In reaching their count, they didn't include the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines flight number MH17 as the plane was forced out of the sky. The AirAsia flight that recently crashed wasn't factored in as the investigation surrounding it is ongoing. Even if the figures were to include the 162 people on that plane, 2014 would still have been in the typical range. While the year's statistics don't exceed what's been typical in the past 10 years, they are significantly higher than the number of human losses recorded in 2013. In that year, there were 265 deaths, while in 2014, there were over 525. Experts point out that airplanes are still a safe way to travel. The International Air Transport Association reports that for the first half of 2014, there were just over 2 crashes per every 1 million flights. A picture puzzle asking which way a bus is traveling is proving rather difficult for adults, but children seem to find it rather easy. 80% of kids aged 10 and under have been able to come up with the right solution almost instantly. The answer, by the way, is left if you're in a country such as the US that drives on the right side of the street. But how in the world can anybody tell if both ends of the bus look exactly alike? It's all about what isn't seen, the bus doors. Children may have an easier time as they tend to use the visual assessment that first pops into their brains. Apparently, this puzzle isn't really as complicated as grown-ups tend to make it. Airplanes are great for quickly getting people from one place to another, but they can also hasten the spread of infectious illnesses like the flu. To see exactly how the sneeze of one sick passenger spreads, Popular Science worked with ANSYS software simulation company to illustrate a likely scenario. At the beginning of the video, passenger 0 sits in the middle of a packed flight. That person sneezes and a cloud of flu-ridden particles forms over their head. It distributes in accordance with the cabin's airflow and eventually travels quite far. Those who end up getting the bulk of passenger 0's influenza germs, however, are the people sitting nearest. They include all three sections of the row that he or she is in, and the left and right sections of the row behind. No doubt, while hearing this, some have Ebola running through their minds. The scenario does not pertain to that particular health matter, as the Ebola virus is not an airborne pathogen. The flu, on the other hand, is, and studies such as these have